Hey there, folks, and welcome back to Imago Spiritual Learning and Wellness. The past few videos I've been talking about um, what happens when everything falls apart for you. And basically, it's the only conclusion really that we can draw when we come to personal and spiritual crisis in our lives is none, right? There's no grasping for answers or for a solution because the process will provide that clarity. And what I mean by that is that if we just simply accept all things and accept that what is happening, and nothing more, without any condition, without any expectation, but that what is happening, and we submit to the experience. And and we can employ our intelligence, our faith, our imagination to reframe the experience. Because when you learn through either videos like mine or through books and readings and things like that, um, when you learn that you have power and agency within yourself to reframe an experience, well, that's something that you can only learn by doing it. And what that could look like possibly, for just as an example, and this becomes easier once you've gone through spiritual or personal crisis. It becomes not easier, but the process, it becomes a bit easier to undergo the process. Just in case there's a series of crises that you go through in life, spaced apart by however much time, whatever that may look like. But 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 reframing the experience is an exercise of agency. That you're not just being, yes, you're being um, carried along by the process. However, in the grander scheme of things, you still do have agency. And so there's a delicate balance between accepting all things and accepting what is, and then exercising agency to, for example, again, to reframe the experience by using our imagination. And so what that can look like is, and I'm sure you've heard this, you may have done this before yourself. You might say to yourself, for every door that closes, another door is opened. Okay, that's just a use of your agency to declare that this experience that I'm going through, yes, it is what it is, and here's my input into this experience. This is a lost opportunity, or this is a crisis. Okay, this is a personal spiritual crisis. This is pain and loss. However, through this, I'm going to gain wisdom and deeper understanding. And I'm going to gain a deeper appreciation of life. So it involves a dialogue where you reframe the experience without necessarily putting a picture within that frame. That again is that balance that I'm talking about between allowing yourself to be carried by the process, reframing it by declaring that this is what it's going to be for me, but without adding any specifics, conditions, or specific expectations, which that would be allegorically, putting a picture within the frame. You can reframe the experience so that the crisis becomes an opportunity, so that the pain becomes wisdom, so that the loss becomes appreciation or gratitude. You see, it's like, for example, if you apply for a job, not that equates, on the same level as what I'm talking about with personal spiritual crisis, but just as a small example, let's say you apply for a job and you don't get it, And it may feel like a gut punch in the very moment that you find out that you were not hired. Okay. However, in the very next moment, be thankful. Just just express gratitude in your own way, and reframe it so that through your agency and through your imagination and through the power of mind and intention and thought and word, you might say something like, okay, I did not get hired for this job. It's all good. It's all blessed. There's something better waiting for me. There's a reason, there's a purpose why I was not hired here, and this door was closed. Another door will open, whether it's another job offer or whether it's a shift of some kind where you might even go into a different career path. Whatever it might be, or you might revisit, some creative project that maybe you had neglected for some time as you wait for another job offer or as you wait for another opportunity. Okay? And what you're doing is more than the outcome, you're exercising agency and imagination and the power of thought, the power of intention to reframe the experience. And that makes all the difference. I think it was Planck, the physicist, who said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Or when you change the way you see things, the things that you see will change. Okay, so it's all about exercising internally, agency, exercising power, exercising will, exercising imagination to declare, to define, redefine, reframe the experience. And why do I share this? Because when you're going through your personal crisis, your spiritual crisis, okay, that's an invitation to an awakening. That's an invitation to a birth, a new birth, a rebirth. Okay, because crisis is a dividing line. Something old dies, something new is born. And so as long as you remain in the mode of acceptance, accepting that this is occurring, not resisting it, not complaining about it, but accepting it. And in that mode of acceptance, it gives you space. It gives you an opening, an open space to be able to then reframe the experience. This crisis is a dividing line, something old, it has died or is dying, so that something new can be born. That's a way of reframing the experience. And you don't have to get into specifics. It will work out. Because there are unknown agreements that we're not aware of between our eternal self and the universe and the flow of life that we don't need to be privy to right at the moment, because at the moment you need to be in the moment of your pain, of your loss, of acceptance. However, the specifics and the outcome of the agreement will come through soon enough. It will. And so when you go through crisis and when you go through personal or spiritual crisis, well then, what ultimately is the purpose? Because if you're going to be reborn through this, and if you're going to awaken, spiritually awaken through this, what is the purpose of that spiritual awakening? Well, look at the butterfly, right? The caterpillar, it lives to consume. And then it goes within its chrysalis and it undergoes metamorphosis. And it undergoes a period of turbulence and violence because entomologists term them suicide cells. I'd rather say termination cells or terminator cells, The terminator cells are released from the body of the caterpillar and consume the body of the caterpillar, destroying its current form as a caterpillar. And when that happens, then clusters of cells are released, or other cells called imaginal cells are released. And those cells cluster themselves, and each cluster becomes a different part of the body of the butterfly, and then they all merge together, and then the butterfly emerges from the chrysalis. And what does the butterfly live to do? Where the caterpillar lived to consume, the butterfly lives to reproduce, and to pollinate. So it's promoting the butterfly lives to promote life, more life. Where the caterpillar lived to consume in preparation for the metamorphosis, the butterfly lives not to consume but to produce. And that's going to be your mission. And whatever that may look like for you. That can look like something creative, something artistic, something involving business, something involving teaching or healing or wellness or any number of areas, service. But you're going to be producing what? And reproducing what? Like the butterfly. It pollinates, and through that process it produces and it reproduces itself, right? By reproducing with its mate and then laying eggs. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pollinate, which is serving others, and you're going to produce through that, and then you're going to reproduce. So you're going to live for the purpose of serving others in whatever capacity that occurs to your own individual self. And in serving others, you're going to reproduce this renewed spirit of oneness, this renewed spirit of service, this renewed spirit of gratitude, this renewed spirit of deeper understanding and understanding, a renewed spirit of wisdom. That's what you're going to do. You're on it, and that's going to be central to your life and central to your mission. I promise you, if you go through a genuine experience of rebirth, the conditions and circumstances of your life may not change, right? Spiritual awakening doesn't mean that everything is all brand new, but you are, your perspective, your outlook is new. And in that renewing of your mind, you're going to live through perhaps the same job, the same career, the same areas of service, or new areas of service, or new jobs, new careers, new relationships, whatever it may be. But you're going to live to serve others and to reproduce a spirit of oneness. And not through preaching and not through proselytizing, just by being your own self, your new self. Because that's the purpose of spiritual awakening. It's not simply just, I see that salvation for me, or the path of redemption is, yes, it's individual, but eventually the way I see it is that it's collective. For me, I personally am not satisfied with my own personal well-being. The well-being of others means a lot to me. And that's something that I can promote mystically, if you will, in the solitude of my home, or through volunteering, or when I work with others. That spirit will shine through without ever preaching about it, without trying to spread a certain specific message necessarily. It will shine through in your way of being. And those with whom you interact will feel something unique, will feel something different when they interact with you. They will. And so whether, your service and what you reproduce, again, happens through volunteering, through encouragement, through healing, through teaching, through however it may come, however it may come, um, or whether you do it mystically, at home, alone, through prayer and meditation and feeding into the earth, feeding into all land, skies, and waters, that spirit of oneness, that spirit of healing, and using your creative imagination to see a new world for all, and a healed humanity. Okay? So you can do it mystically, in solitude, and socially through your relationships and your interactions with others. But that's the point of spiritual awakening, is like the butterfly, to spread that, to spread the blessings of your rebirth by serving others and reproducing that beautiful spirit. I like to say to envision, embrace, embody, express, and expand oneness. There's really no way to expand oneness. Oneness is all that there is. But to expand the awareness of it in the minds of others that may not be aware, through your own unique way of being. So you can do it mystically, through ritual, prayer, meditation at home. You can do it socially through your interactions, whether it's at work, with family, friends, strangers. In all places and in all cases, be who you are in this rebirth. Be what you are authentically, honestly, with integrity and with humility, and with love and gratitude, and with a renewed understanding of others, because you've gone through your crisis, through your pain, through your loss, and you gain a deeper compassion for others. And through that compassion, you gain a deeper understanding and inner standing of what others are going through. And you'll have a deeper desire to help in some way, to serve in some way that is meaningful, to make a difference that truly makes a difference. Okay, that's the purpose of your spiritual awakening. So I want to thank you so much for taking this time with me here at Imago Spiritual Learning and Wellness. Give a like if you care to, subscribe if you care to, and let's take this journey together. Let's take this journey together. So thank you again for being here. Eternal blessings to you and to all that pertains to you. Thank you.